Episode of the Everblack podcast is brought to you by Deathwish, Hotrods and Kustoms. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
How you going, brother?
I am so good, man. I'm hard chilling.
Yeah, it's cool. Where are you? You're in the car.
I'm in my truck right now. Yes, I'm in my truck. I'm in the middle of running around doing a million things to get ready. I have to go to Europe in a couple of days, so I'm like,
All that.
they keep me employed.
That's gonna be huge. That's with Wage War, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Can't wait.
Dude, just a little run over in Europe. Nice.
Yeah, I love those guys too. They're so nice. They're like good Southern boys, so we get along good.
That's so good, man. Looks like it's gonna be so much fun. But dude, my name's Nev anyway. It's good to talk to you, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No worries. No worries. Well, the new Devil's see, I told you. Let me rewind. Janine sees me do this all the time. The new Devil Wears Prada album, Color Decay, has just been released, and it's a really great album, man. You know, it beat the Mars Volta, I Prevail, and Aussie in the charts. Like,
Crazy, yeah.
yeah, like I got a little Aussie up here, and he's not happy about
I
it.
love
He's like,
Ozzy, yeah.
no, me, Sharon, they beat me. But mate, that's got to say something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been quite some time since we had something pop off like that, but I believe it. I love the album. I'm really proud of it, and we put a lot into it, and I think it feels really authentic to us. So
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, it's such a diverse record as well. It's got, you know, the heavy moments and then the melodic atmospheric stuff, and lyrically, you know, it's really dark at times too. Did the artwork have any influence on that, or was it the other way around?
so it's kind of the other way around. We had a couple songs put together, including Sacrifice, and we kind of wanted to tease that out as like a here's what's coming from us sort of thing. So we found this guy Harry that had worked with Drop Dead, Ollie's company over in England, and he killed it. Like, he absolutely murdered the Sacrifice artwork. And then we went back to him and he did the Watchtower artwork for that single. And so we wanted him to do the record, and we kind of gave him a rundown on like the themes of the album, and gave him like a link to listen to all the songs and kind of get his vibe. And that's one of the things he came back with, and that was definitely the most gripping to us. And I think even more so now than when we first chose it, it totally represents like the dark nature of those songs. But you know, it's hard, man. It's hard being out here.
And he's doing more singing on it too, which is cool.
Yeah, quite a bit. John's put me to work, man.
No, it sounds incredible. I mean, how do you guys map out those vocal parts together? Like, how do you and Mike suss it?
So it really comes down to John being the producer and one of the main songwriters of just choosing. Even Mike and I will sometimes say like, hey, that feels like it should be singing, or hey, that should be screaming. And he's like, nah, it's the other way around. So we really fully trust him. Like, it's kind of like a coach player relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we know what we're doing, but at the same time, you don't really have the plan. You don't really have the whole vision and the scope of things. So when we go in, we let him kind of guide us into what we need to do. And it kind of just depends on the emotion of the part. And also, some words sound better sung. And then sometimes Mike can write some really, you know, narrative, flowery language stuff that I'm like, there's no possible way I could sing that word. It'll sound crazy. So it's better to be screamed.
Was there anything that you had to like reverse engineer, like, or re-record because you're like, man, it's not, you know, it's not working in that way. So let's go back and record it and flip it.
Yeah, we have a pretty intimate dynamic. So if we're doing vocals, especially, like, it'll just be Mike alone in the booth working with John. And then if it's me, it'll just be me alone in the booth working with John. And we did a ton of vocal tracks on our last album and on Z2, and so we just really trust his part for it. But if I'm like, I can't sing that phrase, it just doesn't make sense. We'll just change the lyric on the spot to something else that has the same meaning but kind of enunciates better, maybe.
Last year, as you just mentioned, you just released the Z2 EP, which was a follow-up to 2010's Zombie, which was just straight up brutality, man. But, you know, Color Decay had more, you know, experimentation. You know, when it comes to, you know, writing and recording this kind of stuff, is that sort of conscious to keep that balance between the two, like between the EPs and the, you know, and the album?
Yeah, I think the EPs seem, especially lyrically, the EPs seem like a better place for Mike to just go fully out of left field and write these really intricate narratives that are a lot more third person in nature a lot of times. On the act as well, I guess it's always pretty much since Dead Throne, I feel like Mike has been pretty transparent on the things that he's going through in his life and his stories. And so the albums just seem like a more personal space, and then the EPs are a little bit more of a fun playground. There's a couple songs that are on the album that were written around the Z2 time, but we didn't end up using them, and then we kind of just recrafted them narrative, like the lyrically, to make sense with the album. But yeah, it's kind of hard to be like, you know, apocalypse is coming when you're like crying from the song before, you know.
Yeah. Man, like it's like Watchtower, man, like blasting, and that's such a banger, man. Like,
yeah, that one he actually wrote in like an hour, just because we had been tracking the song Saul, and he was like, I want to do something that's like just like classic metalcore, like, you know, the Darkest Hour type stuff. And so he just like banged out this riff. I was like, yes, do that, keep going. That's the one. So he's crazy.
Is that something that you're going to do in future, do you think? Like more EPs, brutal, and the experimentation stuff on the albums? Is that the
I think so. I have a few different projects cooking up in my head. I'm like scheming already, but yeah, I think I think it is relieving to our fans to know that if we come out with something so emotionally devastating like this, that there will be other projects that are heavier, and it kind of gives us more license to play. You know, if you want to hear just straight metalcore for 45 minutes, you're probably not going to get that on an album from us at this point in our career. That we're going to save that for the EP. So I think it's kind of relieving in a way to know that it's still in the pipeline.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I mean, do you reckon you'll do another zombie, like a Zombie 3?
I don't know if we might do Zombie 3 in, I don't know, another 8 or 10 years or something like that. But I have a few concepts that I think would be cool to dig into. So yeah. I'm not going to say what they are, but yeah, some really cool stuff.
I mean, you've been to space.
Yeah.
You know,
everyone wants us to do another space, but I feel like we've really exhausted that theme. So we have a few things that I feel like if we were to do it, people would be like, no way. So I want it to be the same as Color Decay. I want it to just be a kick in the face and people aren't expecting it and really just be blown away.
Well, I mean, where else could you go? You can go to underwater. You'd make it like, or here we are.
Submerged,
yeah. Or what about this? Like a ye-old caveman times. You know, caveman rips, dinosaurs, lava, and
like prehistoric kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, I like that. That's cool.
Just knuckle dragging like. That's a bad idea. Don't
like the beginning of Planet of 2001: A Space Odyssey or something.
Yeah, with the just monkeys just beating
each other to death. Yeah, I like it. I'll pitch it. I'll call my.
Okay. Yeah. Call it. What the fuck was that guy on about? EP. Yeah. But man. I lost track of what I was going on that one. But seriously though, I mean, I think you're a straight up killer on guitar, and I know dudes who love your playing and cite you as an influence. But has there been any bands that have come up over the last few years that have, maybe you've played with or shared the stage with that you dig and, you've inspired or been inspired by? That makes sense.
Yeah, I think Isaac from Knock Loose, he's probably, I think, the coolest, like, heavy guitar player that I've seen recently. He is not only writing stuff for Knock Loose, and that is just disgusting, but he's also writing for a lot of other bands. A lot of this throwback metalcore stuff, he's just dominating. Like, I would have begged him to be in our band back in the day. But then he's also writing for like more kind of poppier bands and things like that. I just think that dude is so talented. He's such a cool guy to hang out with too. So
that's awesome. What about you as a player? Like, how are you, sort of being a guitarist, I play for so long. How are you sort of challenging yourself in ways and stretching out? Are you looking at different genres and tapping into different stuff yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely, one thing that really helped me was I got this Reverend baritone guitar, and I never had a baritone, and it executes so well in any tuning that you throw at it. But it's also just like having the variety of stuff that we play now just forces me to be more versatile, because you got to jump from like something like Chemical, you really want to be articulate and expressive, and then you want to jump into like one of these zombie songs that are super riff heavy. I've always been quite literally like the second fiddle. Chris was infinitely a better guitar player than me, and Kyle was infinitely a better guitar player than me, and that really helps too, just in my like in-ear mix on stage, of having someone that's really dominant and an excellent player like right here. I'm just trying to match them most of the time and sync in with them. So it helps having really good guitar players in your band too. You can be like, damn, I should probably figure out how to do that.
Mate, don't undermine yourself. As I said, you are an absolute killer, dude.
I shred. I do be shredded.
You do the shred very, very well. But you guys were such a big part of the big metalcore movement, and it's been cool to see how all of you guys in the genre have all seemed to grow up together and gotten bigger over the years, and seem to be all on the same sort of level. Do you find that you're still friends with all those dudes from back in the day and supported each other coming up?
Oh, big time. I mean, we were just on tour with Stray from the Path and Dying Wish, and Stray is really good friends of ours. And Brendan from Counterparts was actually hanging out on the tour. He just came to hang out for a week. I still talk to the guys in Data Remember all the time. I talked to Marcus from North Lane. I just talked to all these people that are, most of the people in the scene, we all know each other. Knock Loose guys, like it's a really Silverstein, it's a really small world, and all of us that kind of came up playing together, we all still are really friendly to each other.
So interesting to see, like I remember like Bring Me the Horizon, having a show there, and then I saw him in a I don't know if you know what a PCYC is. It's basically like a youth center.
Oh, okay, center. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys call it over there, but like we had we booked the show for the tour on the Gold Coast, and man, it was like this tiny little place packed with kids. And now, like, all you guys are playing massive shows. It's just it's so cool to see, and to see all those crowds as well that have sort of grown with you. And I guess a lot of them, it's starting to become, to some of them, maybe generational. Have you seen that come through as well? You froze up there, brother.
And to come out to the show are like 25 to 35, and they're like, I've literally been seeing you since I was like 16 and now here we are. So that's really cool to me. I don't think any of us thought when we were all jumping on the Warped Tour that we still be doing this like 17 years later. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is all those guys you mentioned, especially like Bring Me and stuff, they've taken a lot of risks. They've really reinvented themselves a million times, and I like seeing my friends be creative like that and do cool stuff.
It's awesome, man. It's so awesome. And you know, saw you were recently on tour doing both zombie EPs together, and I saw a little bit of footage, and it was just limbs and people just
Yeah.
just straight up, man, brutal. I wish I was there. How was it from your perspective seeing people react to both of those together?
It was totally surreal. I mean, it felt like the way it used to feel in 2008, 2009, when we really were kind of hitting a stride, and it had kind of jumped out of the Legion halls and those PY, whatever you call them, like youth centers, into the legit venues, and our kind of music had turned into headliners of that caliber. We couldn't believe it then, and now I saw that same feeling. I can't believe it, seeing people just go nuts like that. It's freaking awesome. I want to come over to Australia and get down. I want to do the zombie stuff over there, man.
Hey, sign me up, dude. That was I was gonna be like, hey man, you know, I know you know, there's this little place down here that's really far away. You know, it's a pain in the ass to get to.
We literally, so we did tell our agent, we said, no matter what, we're going to Australia in 2023. It has to happen. Get the offers in. It's going to happen. So
let's go, dude. Because I mean, we love having you down here.
Yeah. So I don't think we've ever had a bad tour down there. We've had so many good shows, and, you know, we toured with Parkway, with The Day to Remember. We've done our own tours over there. We just love coming over.
Man, we want it. We want it all. But how would you, I mean, we would love to see the zombie tour, but you've also got this new album as well. Like, how, that's a lot to sort of cram into a set. How are you guys doing it moving forward? Like, are you guys
So that's a great question. I don't know what we're going to play now that the album's out. We were playing, so we had a pretty stacked show. It was like 90 minutes, which is pretty long for a metal show. But we were playing 4 new songs. We were playing Sacrifice, Time, Watchtower, and Salt. And so I think we could tweak the set list to put a couple more in there and still get away with both EPs, especially if it's only, you know, you can only play like 7 or 8 shows down there. And we just did it for like 7 weeks. So we're good. We can do it.
Or just do a 4-hour show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's inhuman. But Bruce Springsteen, they keep going and going and going. But dude, so I mean, what else you got cooking up? You got a Wage War tour coming up through Europe. Hopefully next year we'll see you. What else you got? What other sneaky little plans you got?
We have a lot of stuff. I want to keep the frequency of release up. You know, like we were cranking out songs last year, like it was something crazy. So I want to keep that up. And I really just, it's like you said, now that the record's out, there's a bunch of other songs I want to try and play and tour on this album. And you know, it feels in a lot of ways like it's a brand new day one for us, and we love this lineup, and we feel very connected together as a group, and we're ready to get back to work. So the grind starts now.
That's it. You just got to get your stank face on and go forward.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, man, thanks for joining us on the show. Hey, it's been really, really cool chatting to you. You know?
Yeah, cheers, man. Thank you for having me. Seriously, cheers with my water here. We should hook up when we come over there. We really are trying to come over in 23, so let's hook up.
Yeah, dude. We'll have a beer for sure. I'm up for it anytime.
I will never say no to a beer. That is my number one rule in life. So
unless it's 4X or Foster's. No one.
Yeah, not a huge Foster's guy, but you know, what can you do?
Yeah.
I won't turn it down either.
VB, mate. You've had a VB down here, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've had so many of those. Yeah.
There's many more, mate. There's a whole factory full of them waiting for me. Keep them cold. Mate. Dude, thanks again. And we'll have all the links down here. Take care over there in Europe. And, mate, go kick the rest of this year in the arse hard.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me on.
No worries, bro.